अक्कू यादव जो उच्च जाति का है, उसने जातीय श्रृंखला के सबसे निचले स्तर यानी दलितों के इस समुदाय में हत्या, बलात्कार और लूटपाट लगा रखी थी।
Show you just a little bit of some of the crazy things that this man has done over the course of the past hour and a half.
Eisenman waited for him, abducted him, tied him up, and threw him into the trunk of a car.
घर बुलाया मैंने, बैटरी लगवाया, पैसे दिए बैटरी के, बैठा हुआ था मेरे पास, मैंने हथौड़ा उठा के मारा एक सिर पे।
From the chilling tale of Jason Vukovich, the Alaskan Avenger who unleashed his fury on pedophiles, to the relentless pursuit of justice by John Eisenman, a father who inspired the movie Taken. Some convicts are considered heroes, even though they committed brutal acts of violence. Today we delve into 10 remarkable cases which, despite their dark stories, became symbols of defiance and redemption. Some say they are ruthless killers who should rot in jail. Others say they should be hailed for carrying out stone-cold Texas justice. We'll let you be the judge. Number 10. Jason Vukovich. In the harsh landscapes of Anchorage, Alaska, a man named Jason Vukovich emerged from a harrowing childhood where both him and his brother suffered violent abuse and pedophilia. Even after escaping his suffocating home, fate eventually led him back to Alaska, where the echoes of his troubled past persisted in his encounters with the law. In 2016, Vukovich made a chilling decision to target men just like his abusive stepfather. Using the sex offender registry, he compiled a list of pedophiles and embarked on a quest for retribution. Brutal beatings and robberies befell his first two victims, but his vengeance knew no bounds. With the third victim, he unleashed a horrifying escalation of violence, proclaiming himself an avenging angel as he relentlessly attacked and crushed the pedophile with a hammer, destroying his brain. However, fate intervened and Vukovich's reign of horrifying justice was swiftly halted. Apprehended and sentenced to 28 years in prison for aggravated assault and robbery, his actions sparked a tempest of controversy. As he received his sentence, he smiled at his brother, knowing some justice had been served for the nightmares they had to live with. Supporters of the self-proclaimed Alaskan Avenger campaigned for leniency, igniting debates on the validity of street justice. Was he the one that should have been behind bars? Many disagreed. Number 9. Gary Plauché. On March 16, 1984, Baton Rouge Airport would become a stage for a fateful encounter. Infamous kidnapper and child rapist Jeff Doucette had arrived, escorted by law enforcement to face charges for his unspeakable crimes against 11-year-old Jody Plauché. Little did anyone anticipate that it would not be in the courtroom that justice would be served. Amidst the commotion, cameras capturing every moment, a solemn figure approached the payphones. With unwavering purpose, this figure raised a handgun and fired, ending Doucette's life. Gary Plauché, the grieving father, would surrender to the authorities without resistance, his vengeance now complete. The world watched in disbelief as this act of explosive emotion unfolded live on television. Public sentiment overwhelmingly supported the father seeking retribution for his son. In the ensuing trial, Gary Plauché pleaded no contest, resulting in a suspended prison sentence and 5 years of probation. It seemed the justice system too that day sympathized with the heartbroken father. Number 8. Ramon Escobar. Once Ramon Escobar, a hardened individual of 51 years in prison for serial killings, found himself sharing a cell with Juan Villanueva, a man serving a life sentence for the heinous crime of aggravated sexual assault against a young child. Not many expected things to turn out the way they did. As the hours waned on that fateful Friday morning, a sinister air gripped the prison corridors. Juan Villanueva, age 53, was discovered lifeless within the confines of his cell. The cold grip of death had claimed him, leaving behind only questions and a lingering aura of suspicion. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, forced to confront the chilling reality, declared his demise a homicide. As the events unfolded, it became apparent that Villanueva had fallen victim to Escobar's ruthless tendencies. Despite the efforts of the prison authorities to administer medical aid, Villanueva's injuries proved insurmountable, and he succumbed to his fate within the confines of his cell. Despite Escobar's heinous criminal history, which included a killing spree where he murdered 5 people, most of them homeless, many felt that he had, for once in his life, done the right thing. Number 7. Levi Axtell. Charged with second-degree murder, 27-year-old Levi Axtell stood accused of brutally ending the life of 77-year-old Lawrence V. Scully, beating him to a pulp with a shovel before finishing him off with a moose antler. Driven by an indescribable rage, Axtell had deployed the deadly attack against Scully. Stained with blood and haunted by his actions, Axtell made his way to the Cook County Sheriff's Office where he confessed to the gruesome crime. He had beaten Scully to a horrifying, torturous death. As layers unraveled, a disturbing history emerged. Axtell had discovered that Scully had been stalking his young daughter and other children, taking photos and forming a sinister plan of abuse. Before the events, Axtell had been seeking justice through an order of protection that ultimately failed. Court records exposed flaws in the system and Scully's own disturbing past, a conviction for sexually assaulting a defenseless 6-year-old child. Despite being a prisoner of the law, Axtell won the support of the public with his actions. He is currently imprisoned for the brutal murder. The questions remain. Should he be? Number 6. Alam Khan. With this case, we find ourselves transported to the year 2015, where Alam Khan, a young Indian man, has harbored a dark secret for over a decade. An unquenchable thirst for retribution against the man who stole his father's life.
मामला ये था, गे तार कटिंग करते थे दोनों, पापा भी मेरे गे भी। पैसा बहुत हो चुका था दोनों के पास। पैसा हमारा पापा रईस के पास रखते थे, ठीक। रखने के बाद इसके दिमाग में शैतान आ गया, इन्होंने क्या मोबाइल आ दिया, शायद मैं मार दूं, सारा पैसा मेरे कब्जे में आ जाएगा। इसका भाई था, 3-4 लोगों ने मेरे बाप का कत्ल करा।
As a mere 12-year-old, Alam had witnessed the chilling murder of his beloved father at the hands of Mohammed Rice, a trusted family friend. Consumed by grief and a burning desire for justice, Khan silently plotted his revenge, patiently awaiting the opportune moment to strike back. Finally, after 12 long years, the stage was set. Luring Rice to his residence under the disguise of friendship, Khan seized the chance to bring his meticulously crafted plan to fruition. After intoxicating Rice with alcohol, Alam Khan jumped into action, plunging a knife into his nemesis, ending Rice's life with an act of chilling vengeance. Unfazed by the magnitude of his actions, Khan methodically dismembered the lifeless body, ensuring there were precisely 12 pieces, symbolizing each of the years Khan had plotted his revenge. Together with an accomplice, he disposed of the macabre evidence, concealing it within plastic bags and casting them into the river. The bag, swept ashore by fate, offered a chilling puzzle for the authorities amidst the grisly remains. A single surgical scar unveiled the identity of the ill-fated victim, Rice. Following witnesses' accounts of Rice's last visit to the Khan's abode, the truth unraveled, leading to Khan's apprehension. He brazenly confessed his chilling, detailed plan. The avenging son felt no remorse as he said, "I played music at full volume as I carved his body into pieces." Number 5. Akku Yadav. Amidst the narrow alleyways and shadowy corridors of Nagpur, India, there is a name that still resonates with infamy. The serial rapist and gangster, Akku Yadav. Raised amidst the very slum he would come to terrorize, Yadav thrived amidst the criminal landscape. Over the course of 13 harrowing years, Yadav and his accomplices unleashed a relentless wave of crimes, including murder, kidnappings, extortion, and gang rape, with even young children falling prey to Yadav.
मुझे घसीट कर बड़ी दूर जगह पर लेके गया। बहुत गलत काम किया उसने मेरे साथ।
तो उसने 10 साल से आतंक फैला के रखा था। बहनों पीटता था तो पीटता था आदमी लोगों से, अपन भाई लोगों की इज्जत बहुत ये करता था, बलात्कार करता था।
पापा मिट्टी का तेल लेने जा रहे थे, तब रास्ते में रोक कर ही उनसे पैसे छीन लिए। हम लोग तो भूखे रह गए ना, तेल होता तो खाना बना पाते।
उसकी मांग ये थी कि तुम कमा रहे हो ना, तो 10,000 मुझे ला कर दो।
मेरी जिंदगी भर की कमाई ही छीन ली उसने, और मानो मुझे अपाहिज बनाकर छोड़ दिया।
But the gangster's brutal reign met a sudden and unexpected turn when Usha Narayan dared to defy him. In a moment of courage, she resisted Yadav and his gang, igniting a spark of fury within the community. A vengeful mob descended upon Yadav's abode, reducing it to ashes and forcing him to seek refuge in the arms of the law. As the police arrested Yadav for his own protection, a bail hearing was scheduled for him on the 13th of August 2004 in India's Nagpur District Court. A sea of enraged women numbering in the hundreds crashed the courtroom. At 2:30 p.m., a smiling Yadav appeared in court on a bail hearing. In the courtroom, he saw a woman he had sexually molested. Yadav mocked her, calling her a prostitute, and said he would rape her again. The police laughed, but that was the last straw. The scorched woman went ballistic. Yadav, begging for his life, was stabbed 70 times while chili powder and stones were thrown in his face. One of his victims hacked off his penis. The police officers, overwhelmed and terrified, fled immediately. Yadav bled out on the cold marble floor of the courtroom. Even after his death, he was still being chopped to pieces. The women who had delivered a long-awaited reckoning found themselves detained. Yet when the time for judgment arrived, the scales of justice tipped unexpectedly. Even though that every woman in the locality claimed responsibility for the lynching, no evidence could be found. And the women that had tortured and murdered Akku Yadav all walk free to this day. Number 4. André Bamberski. In July 1982, Kalinka Bamberski, a French 14-year-old girl, tragically lost her life while visiting her mother and stepfather in Lindau, Germany. Her stepfather, Dieter Kalmbach, admitted having injected her with a cobalt iron preparation, initially stating it was for treatment. The autopsy revealed something much more sinister. Traces of drug rape and murder were found. Despite this, Kalmbach was able to avoid arrest, but the girl's father, André Bamberski, swore revenge. Even with the distance between them, Bamberski relentlessly pursued justice. In the 1990s, he mobilized public support and fought for Kalmbach's trial in France. In 1995, the doctor was convicted of the murder, but Germany denied the extradition of the pedophile doctor. Bamberski's determination reached its climax in 2009 when he orchestrated a plan that left the watching world shocked. In the city of Mulhouse, French police stumbled upon a feeble and battered figure. Bound, gagged, and bearing the marks of violence, it was none other than Dieter Kalmbach. His tale of 3 abductors transporting him across borders from Germany into France was shockingly true. Bamberski unflinchingly admitted his orchestration of the kidnapping, accepting a 1-year suspended sentence. Meanwhile, Kalmbach received medical treatment before finding himself behind bars, finally succumbing to the clutches of justice. Number 3. Marvin Heemeyer. Picture this. A small-town welder cornered and bullied by the corporate and governmental entities of his town. After failed attempts to resolve his grievances through the proper channels, he decides enough is enough. Enter the Killdozer, a monstrous contraption, the offspring of Marvin's wrath in his skilled hands. A bulldozer turned into an unstoppable juggernaut of steel and fury, meticulously armored and fortified to withstand any attempt at halting its impeding rampage. What follows is the stuff of nightmares. Heemeyer, concealed within his terrifying creation, set forth on a path of destruction that held the entire town in the grip of sheer terror. The buildings of everyone that had humiliated him were obliterated. Structures crumbled to dust under the relentless assault of the Killdozer. In the end, the man and his machine were stopped, not by the forces that tried to halt his rampage, but by Marvin himself. He sealed his fate inside the armored beast with a single gunshot wound to the head. Even in the chaos, Marvin carefully avoided human casualties, his battle being against the entities that wronged him, not the innocent. For many, Marvin became a symbol of the little guy pushing back against a bullying government. Number 2. Jonathan Watson. On January 16, 2023, Jonathan Watson unleashed a vengeful storm upon 2 child molesters behind prison walls. 6 days prior, a convicted child molester, David Bob, invaded Jonathan Watson's housing cell, shamelessly taunting fellow inmates by watching children's TV shows. The audacity crossed the line, igniting an inferno within Watson's conscience. Watson had told him to quit it, but when the molester defiantly tuned in to the PBS Kids once again, Watson's resolve hardened. Armed with a fellow inmate's cane, he unleashed a merciless assault, beating the life out of David Bob. After the murder, Watson left the housing pod to find a guard and turn himself in. But on that fateful day, he met the infamous child trafficker, Graham DeLewis Conti. Watson said that he figured he'd do everybody a favor. In for a penny, in for a pound. Without hesitation, he imposed his own brand of Texas justice and murdered the pedophile. Both the men killed were serving life sentences for aggravated sexual assault of a child under 14. While many have called Watson a murdering psychopath, others have defended his actions, saying that he did indeed do the world a favor. Number 1. John Eisenman. Now this is the true story behind the movie Taken. In October 2020, John Eisenman discovered a horrifying truth. His own daughter had become a victim of a notorious sex trafficking ring, orchestrated by her boyfriend, Aaron Sorensen. Consumed by rage and the thirst for justice, Eisenman meticulously plotted his revenge. The stage was set, and in November 2020, the harrowing tale of Aaron Sorensen reached its climax. Face to face with a grieving father's wrath, Sorensen met a brutal fate at the hands of Eisenman's concrete block and stabbing blows. His lifeless body was hidden in the trunk of an abandoned car, concealed from prying eyes until fate intervened. In October 2021, the truth was revealed, leading to Eisenman's apprehension and remorseless confession behind bars. As the details of this harrowing tale unfolded, emotions ran high. Online campaigns sought to raise funds for Eisenman's defense, while voices across the nation debated the ethics of his actions. To some, Eisenman was a cold-blooded murderer. To others, he's a hero and a symbol of unwavering justice. This marks the end of this video. Remember, these tales are but fragments of the complex human condition. Stories of individuals who, when pushed to their limits, made choices that would make anyone reflect on right or wrong. Do you think these individuals could have resorted in a different way? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked today's video, make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more.